You know, vaccines are a very, very interesting and very different kind of medical prerogative, because it's a remedy that it's a medical intervention that is being given to perfectly healthy people to prevent somebody else from getting sick. And it's the only medicine that's given to healthy people. So you would want, and particularly to children who have a whole lifetime in front of them, so you would expect that we would want that particular intervention to have particularly rigorous guarantees that it's safe. Because you're saying to somebody, we are going to make you make this sacrifice for the greater good. You have no health problems. You have zero risk of this disease. Yet we are going to force you to undergo a medical intervention. And our side of the bargain should be, oh, we want this to be completely safe. If they come out with a vaccine that does what Bill Gates says it's going to do, which is you give one shot, you get lifetime immunity, and there are vanishingly rare serious injuries. So I don't mind, jab site, redness, itching, forget about it. I don't care. I'm talking about deaths or brain damage, 1 in a million. That may be acceptable. In that case, and it works, and I'd say, I tell people, yeah, I'm going to get it. Let's go ahead and get it.
What if it was 1 in 1,000? What if 1 in 1,000, not 1 in a million? That's more
1 in 1,000. No, of course not. I'm not going to tell 1 in 1,000 people to die.
I was at NYU last year, and I was speaking to a classroom of people, kids, and I said, let me ask you a question. If there was a nonprofit, I want you to imagine the greatest nonprofit the world had ever seen. I mean, they spend millions and millions of dollars putting sewage and clean running water into villages in Africa. They've saved the rhinoceros. The elephant is being returned. Monarch butterflies are being saved. I mean, they do everything, and they do it the best there is. Only one issue. Once a year, they take one healthy child and they sacrifice them. Please raise your hand if you would join that nonprofit. Would you fund that nonprofit? Just like here, no one in the room raised their hand. Who would do that? Who kills an innocent child? You just wouldn't do that. Maybe I could offer you something. Maybe I offer you, when you die, will you kill one innocent child? Or maybe I offer you herd immunity. This is what is being sold to us. Herd immunity. I spoke to a head of a CDC in Washington State a couple of years ago. I was speaking. She came to see me speak. So good on her for opening her eyes. And she said, you're giving us a bad name. Because I'm not trying to give you a bad name. I believe in science. I celebrate science. I just don't think you're being honest with the people. She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, right now, you're here, investigating a whooping cough outbreak in Washington. I know, as you know, that they're fully vaccinated individuals, but on the news tonight, I'm going to hear that the anti-vaxxers are the reason these diseases are spreading. And I said, and you're not going to call the news agency and say, as the head of the CDC in Washington, that's not true. Our problem is asymptomatic carriers. She said, all right, you make a point. You're right. I said, okay, so let me ask you a question. We're being honest with each other. You know that there's not a single thing we can inject into people where someone's not going to die. Someone's going to have an allergic reaction. Vaccines are no different than drugs, same elements, just because it has a different name, still has mercury and poisons like aluminum and aborted fetal DNA and Cocker Spaniel DNA and polysorbate 80. So it's a toxic soup. Someone's going to die from the vaccine. So I'm asking you as a scientist, how do you justify that? How do you go to sleep at night knowing we're going to kill a child that may be a future president, may be a scientist that can come up with a way to make a vaccine that doesn't kill people, but they won't be with us because we killed them with the program? How do you accept it? And she said, well, Del, that's the accepted casualty to achieve herd immunity. Herd immunity. And any doctor that tells you the truth will say exactly that. I know, I'm not crazy, some kids will die. Here's the problem. The next question I asked her is, will you please tell me what number is being predicted by the CDC to be killed by this vaccine program next year? She said, we don't have any data on that. Wait a minute. You're a scientist. You just used the term accepted casualty, and you don't know what casualty you're actually accepting? That doesn't make sense. That's not scientific. That's dangerous. Because talking to this person, she is heartfelt. I know she cares. And I am sure there is a threshold that she would not accept. Clearly, she could accept killing at least one kid. I'm going to guess maybe 5 or 10. But could she accept killing 100 every year in America? Or 1,000? Or 10,000? I'm sure there's a number out there. If she heard it, she'd say, I'm not behind this program anymore. But she doesn't know what it is.
To forward public policy and vaccine mandates, it's a very slippery slope. And who's to say one child is expendable for another?
There's definitely a philosophy that it's okay to sacrifice the health of a few in order for the good of many. And so when you see politicians, medical doctors, parents, governmental officials saying vaccines are safe, they've been properly tested, they are effective, anybody who runs with those statements has only read the title of the article. They've not gone further than the title.
Once you say as a society that individual human life doesn't matter, that minorities who are susceptible to having reactions or being injured by a pharmaceutical product like a vaccine, then where does it end? How many are too many to sacrifice? Is it 500, 5,000, 5 million? How many is too many to sacrifice in the name of the greater good?
How many is too many to sacrifice?
נניח שאת מנכ"ל משרד הבריאות, ואני אומר לך, תשמעי, יש לי חיסון נגד מחלה שגורמת ל1,000 מקרי מוות בשנה. ואני אומר לך שיהיה ילד אחד במדינת ישראל, 2 ילדים, 3 ילדים, אלה הסדרי גודל, שימות כתוצאה מהחיסון. מה ההחלטה שלך?
And any doctor that tells you the truth will say exactly that. I know, I'm not crazy, some kids will die. Here's the problem. The next question I asked her is, will you please tell me what number is being predicted by the CDC to be killed by this vaccine program next year? She said, we don't have any data on that.
ואני אומר לך שיהיה ילד אחד במדינת ישראל, 2 ילדים, 3 ילדים, אלה הסדרי גודל, שימות כתוצאה מהחיסון.
זאת אומרת, זה מעניין, אתה מדבר לי כאן על שינוי תפיסה אולי, שאם פעם היו נותנים חיסון כדי להציל חיים ולמנוע מוות, היום נותנים חיסון כדי לשפר את איכות החיים.
חלק מהחיסונים החדשים הם אכן חיסונים שאינם מונעים מוות, אלא מונעים מחלה. חלק מהחיסונים החדשים הם אכן חיסונים שאינם מונעים מוות, אלא מונעים מחלה.
ילד אחד במדינת ישראל, 2 ילדים, 3 ילדים, אלה הסדרי גודל, שימות כתוצאה מהחיסון.